What is going on, people of YouTube? My name is Kurtyoy, and today you can see my face yet again. I know, I apologise. It is a horrific sight. And I had to do this intro differently, as I forgot what I did last time, because Mr. Coathanger, I'm joined with, made me restart. But anyway, this is a, as of yet, unnamed podcast. I'm Mr. Kurtyoy, I suppose you could call me now. I'm going to add a Mr. in front of my name for no apparent reason. And today I'm joined with Joe. Do you want to say hello?
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? I am GINGIEx, and this is Mr. Coathanger.
Now, I've still got that recorded, so I'll probably add that in at the end.
Well, you will, but you won't actually see the coat hanger.
That's a good point, actually. That is a good point. Never mind. But basically, this is a football-based podcast that I've really wanted to try, and I mentioned I've probably released the wrong video today, but in a video released after this one, you'll see that I've got some exciting things happening on my channel, an exciting new series. This is it. Don't be fooled, because I've got my uploading in the wrong order. I'm pretty sure I have. But this is basically just a football-based podcast mixed in with Fantasy Premier League, and we've got a lot of things to talk about. It will shorten down as the season goes on because the transfer window will shut, so I won't have anything to talk about with, you know, transfer rumours, with the new players, how they're settling in. But basically, we are going to be talking about different things that happened over the weekend and different things that could be happening in the future. And to start us off, what better place to start? We've got a West Ham fan on the show. Let's talk about the weekend results. Talk about Arsenal versus West Ham. I'm going to get you to start up on this. What was your first thoughts seeing this result?
Well, I was at work, and unfortunately I didn't get to watch the game, but I heard we were actually fantastic. But considering, like, I hate my job, I was the happiest person there was in the entire store. Like, I was over the moon. People were looking at me and like, well, why are you so happy? I was like, West Ham just beat Arsenal, and some of them aren't football fans, so they looked at me like, well, I don't even know what this means. but to me, I was just like the happiest man in the store. It made my day, it made my weekend. I've been happy ever since, and I'm just ready for the next game. Even after the Europa League disappointment, you know, I hope that we can continue how well we played in that first game, especially with Reece Oxford having a number of players in his back pocket, not naming any Mesut Ozils, but...
Where was Ozil? I haven't seen him since the weekend. Where's he gone? Oh, he's in Reece Oxford's back pocket. But I think, to be honest, Bilic and West Ham, you know, if they carry on the season like that, they'll silence a lot of people, including myself, because I released a video about my predictions in the Premier League, and I openly said that without Big Sam at the helm of West Ham, they will struggle to, you know, get clean sheets, as well as Arsenal being a bit lacklustre going forward. Giroud maybe not putting in one of his best performances he's had in the last few months. It was quite interesting to see, in the fact that, you know, so many people had dubbed them to be right down there in a relegation scrap, and they've pulled out this result, you know, out of the bag, and especially playing Reece Oxford in such a key position in the area to silence one of Arsenal's most dangerous men on the ball. You know, Ozil admittedly had a horrendous game, but Reece Oxford, with Ozil having a horrendous game, and on the players that, even if like Ronaldo and Messi had an awful game, you get them on the ball, they've got the, you know, the feet and the skill just to pick out a pass or a shot that can absolutely change the game. And the fact that Reece Oxford, you know, really numbed that threat, I mean, it was key for West Ham's win there. I'm pretty sure, you know, he'll be in the first team more with performances like that, and maybe even you won't sign Alex Song.
Yeah, it's not Alex Song I'm concerned about, it's Joey Barton. But
I was going to move on to
another
that
day,
in the future, so I'm going to veer away from that and move on to the next game, which was another shock to me. It was Chelsea 2, Swansea 2, and this one was a shock because, you know, as much as Swansea have a good attack, and I again openly said that Swansea maybe would struggle without the goals of Boney, and you know, they showed in Chelsea that they've got an amazing attacking threat, even though Jose Mourinho blamed it on Courtois' red card. Your view on that game, what did you firstly think of the most important decision, which was the red card?
it was a red card. I don't care what Chelsea people say, what Mourinho says or anything. That was definitely a red card. Czech made contact. It was through on goal, basically. That was definitely a red card, and the ref made the right decision. I thought it was funny that Benkovic came on, even though I'd been taking the mickey out of him for a good few weeks for moving to Chelsea. But all he did was concede a penalty, and did he concede the other goal, or did Courtois?
That was before.
Yeah,
That's why I got
but
sent off.
he conceded a penalty. I mean, I don't know how well Begovic played. I only got to saw what happened in match of the day, and as we all know, there's not really extended highlights on there. But I thought that Swansea played well. Jefferson Montero completely wrecked Ivanovic the entire game, which is what surprised me the most because Ivanovic is such an experienced defender. He's good at getting forward and getting back. He's solid at the back. He's that rock in the Chelsea defence that you always expect to perform well. But Jefferson Montero tore him to pieces. And that was my biggest surprise of the match, and it does show what strength in depth that Swansea have, seeing as if Jefferson Montero wasn't playing, there's a chance that Nathan Dyer could play, and on his day, he can tear up any wing back in the Premier League. But I would say that they do have a slight weakness in striker, but I'm not saying that Batafimbi Gomez is a bad player, but they need better if they want to perform sort of challenging the top 7.
I think maybe looking at it, it could maybe be a sign for other teams that, you know, go to Stamford Bridge or play against Chelsea because, you know, it's well known looking at Ivanovic, he's not a player built for, you know, a 100-metre sprint. You put him up against most wingers in the Premier League, you know, and he will lose the 100-metre race, and especially against Jefferson Montero. And you maybe might think, you know, let's say they've got an upcoming game against City coming up as their next game, I believe. And, you know, with Raheem Sterling maybe fighting for the central spot, surely now Pellegrini will be thinking, you know, if get Sterling down on the left. If Sterling maybe switch it up, you know, and if Ivanovic is coping with Sterling, then you've also got Jesus Navas to come and switch over on the other side. Maybe it's a sign for other teams to, you know, attack Ivanovic because, you know, Azpilicueta's very good and very pacey. Attacking through the centre, they're too solid to do that. On Chelsea's day, they're way too solid. And maybe Ivanovic's his legs are starting to lose him a bit. And maybe it's a chance for other teams to attack down the wing. It could be Chelsea's downfall this season, I believe.
Well, I mean, it's the thing. I think that everyone knows how Chelsea play now under Mourinho. They're very much not. I wouldn't say a sit back and defend team, but you know that if they're comfortable or think that they are, you know, I'm pretty sure that they took the lead in the game. They will sit back a bit more and they'll let the teams come onto them slightly more, not too much, but slightly more. And when they think they're comfortable, they will park the bus as such, and the teams need to realise, as proven by West Ham last season with Sam Allardyce parking the bus, you can break down defences if you try hard enough. Eventually something will go through and something will go correct, and it can potentially lose you games. I'm not saying that every single week when Chelsea park the bus that they're going to lose or draw, because they won't, but sometimes if you just do that little bit more to attack them when they're parking the bus, you can get the goals against the big teams. This is a thing that a lot of teams are noticing now, and I think Swansea have isolated this weakness in the Chelsea defence. I'm not saying that they're a weak defence, but this is something that can be exploited.
Yeah, and especially when you've got, if they're not, you know, attacking down the wings, you've got such quality attack. You've also got people, you know, as much as he's criticised John Joe Shelvey, you know, the wand of a right foot on Gylfi Sigurdsson. And if you've got players like that, you know, give them a ball and, you know, 9 times out of 10 they'll pick out a pass from anywhere on the pitch. It can, you know, it's an option for Swansea as well. And going forward, they look like a very good team, you know, attacking wise this season to me.
Yeah, it's not just that. I mean, some players like Gylfi Sigurdsson, they haven't half got a long shot on them as well. If they're not closed down in the right positions, they're going to smash you for one and possibly put it in the top bin.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, that'll be another problem for some of the teams, a bit like Chelsea, that might sit back a little bit more than other teams. But there's something that people are going to adapt to. I mean, managers know what they're doing. They're going to isolate which players are going to be the key threats in each game. But sometimes things go beyond the players, as I guess you could say, and they'll forget what they need to be doing as their main concern, I guess.
Yeah, and well, moving on finally, because I don't want to sit here and dilly-dally on Jose Mourinho.
And rip into Chelsea, because I know it's going to come back and bite me in the bum when West Ham play Chelsea.
7-0, I'll get Sheffield Wednesday in the cup. 11-0, okay, fine, that's okay. But moving on to the third game, and there was a lot of results, there's a lot of big games, and I think the third game I want to talk about as the third key game is West Brom versus City. Now, I predicted that as a 2-1 result for City. City maybe scraping through. With every other team faltering, I mean, United struggling, Tottenham losing, Arsenal losing, Chelsea really struggling. City came out, and I think away against a Tony Pulis side, at a Tony Pulis stadium, that's a tough ask to do. Go and grab 3 goals. I think with Yaya Toure, especially after his year off, they're sending out a message this year. I think they could be up there, despite everyone thinking they can't.
Yeah, I mean, I did say at the start of the season that Man City could be back with a bang this year. They seem to have this one good year, one bad year spell going on, which is of course something that they don't want, but it's happening, it looks like. But I thought that by looking at the result, Yaya Toure apparently played an outstanding game, and it seems like Company and Man City, now they've got this first big win in the first game of the season. They're probably going to go on a good bit of form now. I wouldn't be surprised if they beat Chelsea next week. And that would really send out a message to the Premier League sort of contenders, I guess you could say, like Man U, like Arsenal, I guess you could say Liverpool, but I wouldn't really count them. But Steven Gerrard. But yeah, it's going to send a message out to them, and especially Chelsea if they lose to Man City, because it's going to show them that Man City are a real threat this year. And I hope, for the sake of the Premier League, that it's going to be another sort of good year, a bit like it was 2 years ago with Liverpool, City and Chelsea all fighting for that top spot.
Yeah, I still think, though, as much as they are good going forward, they do need another centre-back, because I don't think, West Brom maybe did or maybe aren't the team that Chelsea do, and I think, they'll try and, our big teams and other teams will try and highlight the weakness that, they've got 3 good defenders. You pick out their best defence, maybe Kolarov or Clichy, both, pretty good left backs. You've got Zabaleta on the right. You've got Company's one of the centre backs, and you've got Demichelis and Mangala. And neither of them two stand out as, good, like, big rocks at the back. You see Chelsea's team, and they've got, Terry and Cahill, and then if Cahill wants to come out, they've got Zuma, and Zuma also can do a job. City don't have that sort of
they don't have that ability. They don't have the depth.
Yeah, they're good. They're good centre backs. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, there's no way I can discount that. But I just feel like they are too weak. They aren't Premier League ready. I feel like I think Demichelis is probably past it at this point. It's a bit bold statement to say. And also, I think Mangala maybe could do with 6 months to a year, maybe with Company, another big centre-back, and learning off then, coming off the bench, playing if they get needed a rest, and sort of learning that way, learning the Premier League way, because it's a difficult league to conquer, this one.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, Alakria Mangala, he has got the pace, and he has got the strength, although he hasn't shown it yet, but he's not really the biggest of centre-backs. But he used to be very good for Porto, and he can still be potentially a very good centre-back, but he's got to settle in the Premier League. A lot of people, it will take, well, not a lot of people, a few players, it will take 1 to 2 games to settle in the Premier League, and they can be good for the rest of their career. Some people are just ready for it, but players like Mesut Ozil, they've had to settle into the Premier League to start, I guess you could say, performing. Even though Ozil was in Reesok's back pocket, Ozil showed more towards the end of last year that he's more Premier League ready. However, I still don't think he's there, but I think that Mangala is definitely going to have that sort of 2-year spell after joining City to whether or not he's going to be ready. And if not, they're going to have to sell him while they can still get money for him, because he's going to keep on decreasing in ability, and then they're going to sell him for like 5 million if they're lucky, if he keeps on doing badly.
To Crystal Palace.
And then he'll become an absolute monster.
I think there is hope. I mean, I'm not going to go out and say like he shouldn't be playing, because you look at the fact of, the whole De Gea situation, the fact that De Gea has been dubbed, maybe behind or around the same quality as Neuer, but one of the best, if not the best keeper in the world. And you take it back to a few years to when he first joined Manchester United, and he was not the best keeper. He was struggling to catch balls. His strength wasn't there. Pretty much, like if you moved him into defence, you'd sort of get the same sort of picture that Mangala's got. And if you look at the way De Gea's improved, and now he's dubbed one of the best, there is still hope. That's why I think like maybe learning off the Company, maybe another big defender. You feel like Otamendi maybe, or Garay, or someone like that. If they brought them in, it'll do him good, because De Gea had to learn. I mean, he didn't have anyone to learn off. I mean, the only keeper there, I believe, when he was playing, was Anders Lindegaard.
Lindegaard and Kujak.
Oh, quality keepers they are.
Yeah.
I think learning off the keepers, the other side of them, Man United at the time would have had a lot of possession going forward. It was or Fergie was one of his last signings under the Fergie, huge Fergie era, and I think he would have learned, United going forward, seeing the keepers, straight across from him, and the other, between the post, the other end of the pitch, and I think if Mangala can learn like De Gea's learned in goal, City could have a formidable defence. If Company gets back to form, next season they could have a very, very strong defence. They could easily take the title next season.
I think though the thing is, Mangala does need to be playing in the Premier League week in, week out, just like De Gea did, because the only way you can get used to the Premier League is by playing in it.
Yeah.
I mean, Mangala's got the pace, so he's not going to let you down there where a lot of players do struggle. However, if you give him a year playing in the Premier League, he could potentially settle, but you can also find out if he's not ready for it or if he's not good enough for it, like the likes of Robinho.
Yeah.
When he came to the Premier League. You found out pretty soon on, by giving him every week sort of, that starting space, that he wasn't physically ready for the Premier League. He wasn't good enough for the Premier League, which then showed to progress into later on into his career as well.
But hopefully, Man City can keep on moving up. If they beat Chelsea, they'll send out statements. And unfortunately, I think the most disappointing thing about Man City winning 3-0 is that Tottenham fans can no longer ask Siri who the worst team in the Premier League is, and now it comes up with West Brom instead of Arsenal, who are in 19th. But just to rattle off the other results quickly, Norwich lost 3-1 at home to Palace, Leicester won 4-2 against Sunderland, Everton drew 2-2 with Watford, Bournemouth lost 1-0 at home to Villa, Man United won 1-0 against Tottenham thanks to a fantastic finish from Kyle Walker. He's now United's top goal scorer. Stoke lost 1-0 at home against Liverpool. Newcastle drew 2-2 against Southampton. And quickly, I want to talk about the new boys in the Premier League, starting off with Bournemouth. Their loss to Aston Villa. I think maybe, with a lot of the players, like I think I saw them on goals on Sunday. There was two of the players. I think Tommy Elphick was one of them. And you saw that they, a lot of the players were just playing on League One football, and then 2 seasons later they're in the Premier League, and all of a sudden it's like 2 giant steps up. They barely got ready for the Championship, and they're in the Premier League. But it looked as if with the game being played in the highlights that it was just a settling period. They were nervous. Callum Wilson wasn't firing in shots. He was taking touches, maybe too many. But how would you evaluate their first game? But their first ever game in the Premier League.
I want to say that I was disappointed, but I can't really say that because Bournemouth have come so far and they've done so well. You can't be disappointed in the fact that they only lost 1-0 to Villa. I would say that I was hoping for a Bournemouth win, just because, really give them that start that they needed. Yeah. But unfortunately they didn't get it. But, that's for another day. I mean, Bournemouth, I still hope that they're going to stay in the Premier League, sort of perform a bit like Stoke, but except they play football. And get that solidarity in the Premier League, and hopefully that they'll perform and become better. I don't want them to go down. This fairy tale story has to have a good ending, because otherwise I'm not going to be a happy man.
All that happiness that Arsenal gave you by playing awful is just going to be thrown out the window this season.
Yeah, if West Ham relegate Bournemouth, I'm not going to be happy, Bilic, I'll tell you that.
Big Sam back. Bring him back. He never did something like that. But overall, I think there is hope. That they went forward well. They created chances. They just didn't take them. I feel like a lot of that was the fact that they've got nerves. They've brought in a lot of players, maybe not proven Premier League performers, which is where they might fall. Which is where Blackpool fell when they came into the Premier League. A lot of them.
Burnley fell.
Burnley fell a lot. I've just seen Sheffield Wednesday have kicked off against Mansfield. But I feel like give them time to settle in. They won't. I don't think they'll get a good start. I mean, looking at their fixtures, they've got a few tough ones coming up. I think give them time to sort of ease their way in. And once they're eased in, I feel like if they can make their, I know this is such a stereotypical thing to say, but if they can make their home ground a fortress, then they can easily stay up. And I feel like it's possible when it's written in the stars. I could say.
They've got to have the future. Well, can Messi do it on a rainy day on the south coast in Bournemouth? That's got to be what the future saying is, rather than a rainy day in Stoke, because it's getting to the point where a rainy day in Stoke is going to be quite a tough place to go.
Rainy day in Stoke's going to be tiki-taka football. Stoke Alona.
Stoke alone.
Sheridan Shaqiri also just signed as we're just about to record this.
I'm scared.
I'm scared as well. It's not looking good.
I'm getting scared of that Stoke front line. I'm not gonna lie. Shaqiri, Bojan, Afellay, Mame Diouf on his day. It's
Peter
not
Crouch.
something I want to think of. Yeah, Peter Crouch.
But they've got a good variety in Stoke, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
But moving on to the second team we'll talk about, going alphabetical order, we'll talk about Norwich, who played Crystal Palace. They lost 3-1 at home, and I feel like they can be very disappointed with the result. I feel like the referee... No, I know this is a bad thing to start your Premier League experience on, but the referee had a huge part to play. I mean, it goes down to... It was 2-1 getting on late in the game, last 20 minutes. And Cameron Jerome in the area, I'm sure you've seen it before. I probably won't put it on my screen because I'll get this flagged down for copyright. But he get the ball and it's pretty much below head height, and he sort of, I suppose, overhead kicks it, but sort of swivels at the same time, and it goes into the back of the net. Runs off celebrating. It was disallowed for a foul. I'm pretty sure, 99% sure that it was for a high boot.
It was, yeah.
I can't remember who defended. I think it might have been Delaney. He's put his head down, so his head is going down. It's not at head height, and you've seen them given before. I think it's just maybe a poor decision from the referee, and in the end that cost them because they shoved men forward looking for the chance, and then Cabaye coming forward. Joe told me before, he's very good at finding space in the area. He found space in the area and he punished them. And I feel like Norwich they'll be heartbroken a bit by that, because they could have gone on to get a third. They could have held the 2-2. Instead they've come away with a 2-goal deficit loss at home. And I feel like they'll be disappointed with that. But they played well, I think, didn't they?
Yeah, well, I thought Norwich had a decent first game back. I mean, I've tipped them to go down. I don't know whether or not they will. They could still have a decent year, but I'm still tipping them to go down, just because I don't think that they've got all the power that you'd necessarily need in the Premier League. But however, I do think they were harshly done over by that disallowed goal. I mean, that's given 90% of the time. I mean, you look at Wayne Rooney's bicycle kick against Man City, you could potentially say that was high foot.
Yeah.
Last season, Graziano Pele's bicycle kick, you could potentially say that's a high foot. But just because Delaney puts his head towards his boot, he's given it as a high ball, which is actually not a foul, because if a player leans towards it and he's putting his own head at risk, it's not what's it called? It's not high foot, because it's the player's fault for doing so. But also, you can't really do that, because it's going to get to the point where it's going to get ridiculous. Like, you could score a 40-yard bicycle kick, but just because you were 5 yards away from a player, it's high foot. This is where referee discretion needs to be. I wouldn't say like perfect, because it's never going to be perfect, but referee decision making has to be on a level at all times. Either every single one of them is given, or every single one isn't.
Yeah.
That's the sad truth about it. It's the same as things like simulation. If someone dives and they get a yellow card for it, and then someone else dives but they don't get anything for it, it's just giving that player another chance to potentially dive in the match. Yeah. You need to make sure that it's constant sort of agreement on bicycle kicks. Are they allowed? Yes or no? I would say yes, because it makes the game more interesting. But you can't just say, well, his bicycle kick was near a player and he could have potentially hurt someone, so therefore it's not allowed. You just can't do that, because it's not part of the game. It doesn't make it fair.
I think throw-ons should be replaced by roll-ons.
Roll-ons. Well, just in case someone falls over and potentially hurts themselves. But yeah, throw-ins should be banned, just because Rory Delap has hurt West Ham too many times with that. I know he's retired now, but still.
I get nightmares in my sleep still. It's not fun.
That's Stoke throw-on.
They know when you go. I mean, I haven't played football in some time, and I was never good at it. But watching it, if you're going to put your head towards the ball in an area, you know the risks. You know that if you're going to put your head down towards the ball, and you know that someone is going to be doing that, all his eyes are on the ball. All Cameron Jerome's eyes are on the ball. There's no maliciousness in that. he's literally got both our players got eyes on the ball. Well, the defender knows the risks. He knows the risks. He knows that he could get hurt in this. He knows that he's got to try and do it to block it out. And I think the fact there was no protests whatsoever from Crystal Palace players in the area shows that maybe the referee did get it wrong. Because if they're not protesting, and even the player that went in with his head and tried to clear it out like that, if they're not protesting about it, then surely then they don't think it was anything wrong. I mean,
I would agree
it
with
might
that.
just
Yeah.
be me looking at it, but looking at the stats as well, Norwich had 63% possession. They had 17 shots compared to Palace's 11, 6 on target compared to their 7. Palace had a few more corners. So in the end, they had a lot of the ball. At the end.
But it must also be said that Palace didn't field their strongest team as well.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because you had the likes of Yannick Bolasie, the key player from last year, started on the bench. Connor Wickham didn't start, who I would say is arguably their best striker now.
Yeah.
Like these two key players for Crystal Palace this season didn't start, and I'm not saying that Norwich would have been slaughtered if these two had played, but I think that Palace may have made the match not a bit more dominant, but they would have potentially had a bit more possession and could have perhaps scored another goal or two. But I mean, if these players had played, they could have scored 2 on goals for all we know. I mean, it's all well and good saying they didn't have their strongest team, but maybe Norwich didn't have their strongest team. I know that the Wolf didn't play. Ricky Van Wolfswinkel.
What a miss! I mean, he's missed his chance to score his goal. I mean, he scored his goal in the last season he played in the Premier League on the first game of the season, so he's not going to score. May as well just not play him for next season if they survive.
Unless, of course, he plays against West Ham, then, well...
bound to do it.
Yeah, he's bound to score.
But let's not forget, Banford was on the bench as well. You got Jedinak on the bench as well. They missed, a lot of key players. And maybe Norwich wouldn't have got there, but also it was... I think definitely a missed opportunity for Norwich. But looking at the last promoted team, which is Watford, they picked up points. They picked up a point.
I tell you, they took the game to Everton. That's quite an achievement. A point at Goodison Park is something that some of the big teams don't even get.
Yeah, I think they played well. I mean, admittedly, I'm not all these matches. I'm literally watching on Match of the Day. I'm watching goals on Sunday. I'm watching any highlights I can anywhere on all the football, and they did very well. They came out, 5th manager in a year. It's been wellly noted that Watford are good at sacking the managers, bringing new ones in, and also Aurelio Gomez is back in the Premier League too. Old Butterfingers himself, former Spurs keeper. I can't wait. But they played really well. Admittedly, when you go to Goodison nowadays, with Martinez in charge, the possession gets taken to you. So that they had 30% possession, Watford did. But they played very well. They took their chances and they were very good on the counter-attack. And I think that's where they hurt Everton the most, the counter-attack.
And Troy Deeney did what I asked him to do, and he got an assist. He didn't score, but Troy Deeney did get me an assist.
And I think that's another big thing, is that, again, another poor decision, myself included, saying maybe Watford would rely too much so on the goals of Deeney. And you go in, and as much he did get an assist, but, I think centre-back Lyoun with a good finish, and then Ighalo also with the goal for Watford.
Yeah, Ighalo, he's a good player.
It's not all Troy Deeney. They have got goals from elsewhere, and they showed they can attack well. They put people in the area. They've got good finishers. They've got good attackers. It could be a very good season for Watford. It could also go the other way around, maybe risking it too much, and it coming back to bite them on their bottom.
Well, that's where they've just got to watch themselves and things like that. I mean, it's quite obvious. Like most of the big teams will probably go to Vicarage Road, and I mean, I'm not going to say they're going to get a win, but with most promoted teams, when the big teams come to them, they usually do not perform as well unless they make their ground a fortress, like Bournemouth's ground's going to be. But it's hard to say from the first game of the season. Oh, this team's now going down. Arsenal are going down though. But it's hard to say that this team's going down this early on, because, I mean, bloody hell, West Ham could win the league at the moment. Bournemouth could win the league. First game of the season, you can't say anything. I mean, just because a good few teams start well every year, but there's always that one team that will sort of flitter out into the wind. I remember West Brom a few years ago were in the top 5 at December, and then they finished 16th, I think. West Ham last year were 4th in December, ended up finishing 11th.
Sure either.
But they're two ones that I do remember. But first game of the season doesn't prove anything.
It shows you can send out, a small statement, but you can't really say, we're going to stay up because we got a point. A point is not going to keep you in the Premier League unless other teams do incredibly shit like you.
And although potentially, you could draw all 38 games. And then, I mean, you're not on the 40-point mark, but you might just stay in the Prem.
We're going to leave the promoted teams for now. The league table, City is top, Arsenal are 19th. That's all that really matters, to be honest.
West Ham are second.
West Ham are second. West Ham fourth.
What?
Leicester
That's
racist. Ahead of them.
So how were Arsenal bottom if we? Oh, hang on. Yeah, I guess that does make sense. It doesn't, but it does at the same time. Like how we were fourth and not bottom. But it's because Leicester scored more goals.
Yeah. But we'll move on now to the next thing. We've gone over, the new boys. We've gone over the results from the Premier League. Now we're going to move on to some of the new players. With the opening day, or the opening week of the Premier League, you can often, see, tons and tons of new players. We can't review every single new player because, Bournemouth have a pretty much new side to Premier League. Everyone has, a lot of new players. We're going to do a few of the big ones and have a quick word on a few of the smaller ones. And we'll start off with the new golden boy of Premier League era, Memphis Depay, and it's someone I know you like a lot.
I do like Memphis Depay.
How do you think he did with him playing his first game, or starting his first game as well for Manchester United?
I'm glad he started. I think that he played alright. He didn't exactly have a star performance or anything, but he played out right. He did alright. I mean, I think that Ashley Young actually outshone him in the game a little bit. But I think Van Gaal likes Ashley Young for some reason. But I don't know. I thought Memphis Depay had an alright game. He didn't have the sort of big headline game that everyone was probably hoping for. If you're a Man U fan, not so much if you're a Tottenham fan. But Memphis Depay, he had a decent game. You can't take anything away from it really. He just had that solid start. It was better than Di Maria's start.
Yes, good old Di Maria. You want to do medical? No, I'm too tired, mate. Sorry, do it tomorrow. But whilst we're on Depay, I think we may as well, instead of waiting until later on, we'll talk about a few other players. Matteo Darmian.
Oh no, you forgot their other new winger, Kyle Walker.
Fantastic play. The finishing on this guy, you will not believe it. You have to go and watch the highlights if you haven't seen it already.
Fantastic finish. I mean, I think Rooney was a bit peed off that he nicked his goal, but you got to do what you got to do on your debut, haven't you?
You need a big performance. You need to win over the Man United crowd, and I think Kyle Walker's definitely done that. Let's just put it that way.
It would actually be really funny if he signed for Man U at the end of the transfer window now. But, the contract's been on the offer. The contract's been on the table for 3 weeks. Oh, has it, Kyle? Really?
But we may as well go on to a few other United players. Talk about I can't remember who exactly played.
Matteo Darmian.
Darmian played. I know Schweinsteiger played. I think they're the main two. But how would you rate? Well, Darmian started. Schneiderlin as well. Sorry, yeah. How would you rate Darmian's performance?
I didn't really see much of it. I just saw a match of the day. I'm guessing it was quite solid, seeing as he got a clean sheet. But
yeah,
I don't want to rate him too early because he's a young right back and he could potentially have a future. But so did Rafael and Fabio at one point. So that's really all I've got to say on it at the moment. I'll give it another few weeks before I make a decision on whether I think he's going to be a key player for Man U or not.
He did. I did come in. I did come in from work. And I'd come in, I think, a minute after Kyle Walker scored his fantastic finish shot. But he did have a good game. Not much got past him. A bit like Klein, which I'll get onto in a sec. But Darmian had a good, solid performance. As too did Schneiderlin. Did lose the ball a few times. It wasn't a textbook performance from Schneiderlin, but he got the job done. He's there to do that sort of job alongside Carrick. I do feel like with Schneidlin and Carrick and Schweinsteiger in the United midfield, they're lacking the sort of,
Pace.
They're lacking the pace. I think you look at the midfield. I think with Depay, if you look at the midfield they played, they had Rooney up top, and Mata one side, Depay in the centre, and Young the other, with Schneidlin and Carrick in there. Now, I think Fellaini will be missed because his height, and his strength. I think maybe you'd move Depay out and bring Mata in, because I feel like it's a David Silva situation for City. He's much better in the centre rather than out wide, and I think that's the same with Juan Mata too, definitely. So,
yeah, and there's one other person we forgot, which is Sergi Romero.
He did have a good performance. That was the other one I forgot about. He didn't have a good performance. He made a few good saves.
I did see that on Match of the Day that his last, was it his last save? No, I'm thinking of Adrian.
No, just drag that back in there again.
Yeah, I thought I'd check the Match of the Day. No. But from Match of the Day, it seemed like Romero made a fair few good saves. A little bit. Maybe he'll be a good keeper, but David De Gea is too key of a player for them to let go. He's 24, and he's already this good. Manu, you can't let him go. If you sell him, you're going to become the new bloody Southampton. Selling all your key players.
To talk about on De Gea later on, which is something I've seen on BBC Sport. Yeah, but we'll move on now to a new Newcastle player. And I'm not going to talk about Mitrovic because he came off the bench. I feel like
came with the bench and almost got a red card.
I thought, way to announce your arrival. I think he took the fact, get a few tackles in on them early to let them know you're there, to a new extreme and tried to break their leg. Like, I'm there now. You can't bloody walk.
McLaren said to him, make sure you let him know you're there. Clatters him. Well.
He had it coming. But we'll talk about their new playmaker, who did look very good. And again, like Joe said, I'm not gonna be on to rate them, highly on their first game. But Wijnaldum, he scored a goal. He dictated play, and he looks like he could be a good signing for them.
Yeah, well, I'm a big fan of Wijnaldum.
Yeah.
A lot of the other big players that came from the. Oh my God, Oxford are beating Brentford 3-0 in 12 minutes.
Score update if you're watching this a day late.
And Newport County are beating Wolves. Anyway, I forgot what we were talking about.
Giorgio Wijnaldum.
Okay, yeah, Wijnaldum. I'm a big fan of him and everything. Like I think that he's going to have a good year. He's not the tallest of people, but he's actually decent in the air, and he's sort of a little bit like a box-to-box midfielder as such. I think that he's going to be a good player for Newcastle. But, of course, it's early days. You can't say too much on them. It's a lot like some other key players that have joined from different clubs, which I'm hoping we'll talk about. But, hint, West Ham. But I don't want to say much on him yet, to be honest.
We'll move on to the next one then, which is the main man himself. Still did better in Fantasy Premier League than his ex-goalkeeping, I would say mentor, but he's younger than Kurtyoy, is Petr Cech, old flappy hands, not split-stepping and letting easy goals in McGee.
Oh my God.
I'm going to ask you, being a West Ham, how you think Petr Cech did. I'm going to brace for impact now, so go for it.
Do you want to know how I think he did?
Fantastic.
He was a brilliant signing that West Ham made this season.
Chelsea let him go as a spy.
Oh God! I was just so happy that Cech chose the first game of the season to play really badly, because I know that now Cech is going to have a very good year. He's going to come back next week. I don't know who Arsenal are playing, but he's going to be back next week, and he's going to be back with a bang. He's probably going to get a clean sheet. He'll save 7 penalties, and I think he's going to have a good week this week. I was just happy that he got his bad week out of the way.
Yeah.
That's what I've got to say on Cech, because I know he's going to have a good year still.
He can settle down now. I think
you can't count him out yet. He's had his bad game, and that Cech's an experienced man, and he will know that he needs to have a very good week next week.
Well, he was quick to admit it on Twitter after the game. Joining the Arsenal trend and posting things on Twitter. It looked like he was taking a selfie when he went in for the Kouyaté save. But he was quick to admit on Twitter, a mistake and a loss. It's not acceptable, pretty much. And I think I think that's good for Arsenal fans because he's admitting that was a mistake. That was poor from him.
I think that's an understatement that was a mistake. It was terrible. To lose 2-0 to West Ham, who in midweek lost to Astra, Vauxhall Astra.
Sounds like a car garage.
Yeah, they lost 2-0 to West Ham, who just went out of the Europa League before they even qualified. 2-0 at home is terrible.
Vauxhall Astra sounds like a team they have Big Dean and Tim from the Chippy up front.
They're not actually Vauxhall Astra, they're called Astra something, but I just added in the Vauxhall because, believe it or not, Vauxhall have a car called an Astra.
Oh, I have no idea about cars. I didn't know about the team either, so...
Did you actually not know that there's such thing as a Vauxhall Astra?
I don't have any clue about cars, to be honest, I'm not going to lie. Come back! I can't do this on my own.
Right, go on, carry on.
But may as well move on to person number 4, which I'm sure, again, you'll want to talk about, and we'll stay on the theme of Arsenal versus West Ham. It's another new signing that they made, and it was Payet.
Dimitri Payet. I've only got really one thing to say about him, and that is, how the hell did West Ham sign Dimitri Payet?
Oh, that's what I'm wondering as well. I mean, no other team went in for him, and yet they think, we might have made a mistake here.
He's like what, 28, 29, and we paid 10 million for him. If he was 23, 24, we would have been paying 30 million for him. I thought he was outstanding. He absolutely wrecked Laurent Koscielny. He wrecked Oxlade-Chamberlain for pace a number of times. And you can see where one of the highlights where the ball was played down the line to him, and he kept the ball on the pitch fantastically. And the best thing is we're not playing him out wide. We're playing him in the middle. Yeah. I think that he was a brilliant signing, and I'm not. Of course, I'm going to say what I've said for everyone. I'm not predicting his season based on his first game, because of course he could have this fantastic game against the big teams, but he could sort of falter against the little teams. Yeah. But although he did have a fantastic game against Southend in a friendly, so I don't really know what to say about him yet. But I really hope, for my sake and West Ham's sake, that he's going to be a really good player. And hopefully he's going to stay.
For the rest of his life.
Bloody, I know what's going to happen. January, still playing well. Chelsea come in with a 25 million bid for him. That'll be the way, won't it? Yeah.
But lastly, on the big players, before we have a quick few seconds on the smaller players, and I'll get Darmain off that smaller player list. I've just got rid of Klein too, spoiler alert. But lastly, the big player I want to talk about last is the player who played on Monday. I didn't watch all the game, but he's not a money grabber. I would have that out there. He's not
I was trying to think who you were talking about at first, and then I thought, oh, hang on, yeah.
But Sterling has reportedly signed for Man City, even though I'm not sure what he did in the game, so I don't know whether it's true or not.
I heard that Raheem Sterling, I actually thought he was on the bench from what I heard, but I haven't seen the game yet, but from what I've seen and read, he wasn't the best.
He didn't turn up. Admittedly, he didn't.
I don't really think he had an impact.
But he didn't have the £49 million impact of which you expect. I believe also he missed quite a good chance too, and I think maybe not a debut to remember, but maybe again, like other players, it just wants to settle in. £49 million getting booed in pre-season, having such a big saga around him at such a young age. I think he will need to steady his feet a bit. But it could be good. I've got another thing about Man City come up later on about who they also could add, but he didn't look like £49 million well spent in that game though.
Yeah, he didn't. The only player that did was Yaya Toure.
Beasted it out.
Yaya Toure looked like he was back to his best,
yeah,
which is unfortunate for West Ham because I won't be able to say this year that Kouyaté dominated him. But you
still have that
we'll
vibe,
wait.
Though.
Yeah.
You've still got the memories.
I've still got the memories. Oh, that was such a good day.
But we'll move on to a quick word and just I've got 6 players here, and I want to speed through them quickly. So, Mika Richards, new Aston Villa captain.
Very good, very good defence. I'll start that bit again. Very, very good at the back. He looked like he had been at Man City for years. He was at Man City for years. He looked like he'd been at Aston Villa for years. I thought that he was solid at the back. Very good captain. He led the team very well. And I think it's a good thing for Aston Villa to see that in the way that they could have already replaced a very key player in Ron Vlaar by signing Mika Richards on a free.
Yeah, I still think though, although he did well, it was, playing against Bournemouth. I feel like when they play a team like Everton, maybe away from home, you'll see like how good he is at organising defence. But first game for Bournemouth ever in the Premier League, I feel like maybe it was quite an easy game for him to start in. Maybe that's done well to ease him in as well. But Johan Cabaye.
He had a pretty quiet game until he scored. He plays the ball around well, but he always does. Very good at finding space, like I said to Kurt, and he's got a decent long shot on him, which will be shown throughout the season, probably against West Ham, because that's what he used to do against for Newcastle. But he didn't have I'd say he had a decent debut. Cabaye will be a good player for Crystal Palace. There's no doubt about that. But there'll be more to come from him. That's all I've really got to say on him. There'll be more.
For some reason, I've got Barkley on here, so I'm going to replace him by your main man, Cleverley.
Cleverley?
How do you think he did?
From the highlights, I didn't notice he was on the pitch, to be honest with you. He was very quiet. He was showing why Man U let him go and why Aston Villa didn't go back in for him, I don't think.
He did do a lot, or decent bit of work tracking back from I saw on a few highlights watching Monday Night Football, and Jamie Carragher on his own with Roberto Martinez analysed his play. But besides that, there wasn't much else to his game, to be honest.
There wasn't really. I mean, I don't. Cleverley isn't going to be a key midfielder for Everton if Everton want to continue to sort of not dominate but continue to perform well. They do need to get a different centre mid to Cleverley, I'm afraid.
Yeah, and we'll move on to another English player, Nathaniel Klein.
Very good debut, I heard. I heard he was solid.
He was very good.
Continuing on from his form from last year, playing for Liverpool now, and Liverpool have needed a good right back for a good 2-3 years now.
What's wrong with Glenn Johnson?
I think you mean Messi. There's nothing wrong with Glenn Johnson, but Nathaniel Klein really did show that he's got defensive capability apart from just attacking. And at the moment, the Premier League game is a fullbacks game, and you need to have good fullbacks to be able to perform well in the Premier League. And I think that Klein did do that very well.
Yeah,
I thought he had a good start.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's Andre Ayew that Swansea have got, but Andre Ayew, Swansea winger.
It seems like he had a good game. He scored, did very well to score, I might add as well, from the way that his body position was and the way he was angled. It seems, I can't remember, was he playing in the centre or on the right-hand side? Because I got a bit confused with that in the game, because he seemed to be very central, but I thought he was playing on the right.
I think he would have started the game on the right, but I think looking at him, he's a player that does like to come in a lot. I feel like that's something you'll see a lot. I'm pretty sure he did start. When formations were released and you saw the squads, he was on the right. But I think he's
someone that does he does cut inside.
Yeah.
The thing is, I would keep him out on the right because Sigurdsson should be in the middle.
Mm.
I know that them two will swap and everything throughout the season, but I don't know. I think he had a good game, but I don't want to judge him yet because he rejected West Ham.
Just chuck that in there. No bitterness.
Yeah, I don't want to judge him yet. Swansea, they know a good player when they have them. So I think that he's going to be a decent player, but it's hard to say yet.
And lastly, I think signing of the season so far, the saviour to Sunderland, Yunus Kabul.
He was okay.
He did concede 4 goals, Joe.
Yeah, I know. He was okay.
He was just okay. And we'll move on.
I haven't got much to say because conceding 4 goals on your debut, let's just say, isn't the dream.
Yeah, I think it just showed as well that there's no Sunderland haven't improved.
No,
From last season. They're the same Sunderland. I feel like they will need to get rid of Advocat, bring yet another manager in for them to stay up.
Sam Allardyce. Calling it now.
It
Calling
probably
it now,
will
Sam
happen. I'm not
Allardyce.
gonna lie. You know, and then you find that
Bloody Saladdice. Saladdice.
Allardyce, bloody hell.
Allardyce will keep him up. Although, thankfully, that could mean Kevin Nolan might leave.
Oh, that's a good point. You definitely be wanting that now.
But though apparently I have heard that Nolan had a good game when he came on the other day.
Yeah.
He showed experience. But anyway, I stopped talking about West Ham Arsenal 2-0. But
Just chucking it in there as much as you can.
yeah, when are we going to talk about Reece Oxford?
And finally, the last bit, I've got 4 different things to talk about, and I'm going to call this an extra segment. And this bit, I'm going to like to call this the only bit of the thing I have a name for. And it's
Transfer talk.
God damn it. It's called Rumour Has It. It's basically
Rumour has
rumours
it.
around football nowadays. Or these episodes are going to be based around transfers, obviously, because it's transfer window. But I'm not sure any of these, as it's released, I'm going to be posting this as a whole 1 hour or so podcast tomorrow on my channel as a full. So I don't know how long, how well these will stay up to date. But rumour has it.
Are you uploading the full thing?
Yeah, because I see it as a podcast. I think I might as well, because it gives people just click on it and just listen to it for an hour.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Let's start off with the first thing out of 4. Rumour has it, Joey Barton to West Ham through reports, and I think they've proved this season already that the reports or people that are saying it, they're trusted sources. But rumour has it, Joey Barton to West Ham. You're a West Ham fan. I'll let you answer this one. Well, I guess I'm on my own for the last bit then.
Joey Barton to West Ham. I've seen that the reason that Bilic wants him is for some experience in the team.
Yeah.
We have experience already in Kevin Nolan. We don't need another player to sit on the bench and eat up 40 grand a week worth of wages. But I've also seen, though, despite the Joey Barton rumour, another rumour for West Ham for Lucas Leiva. Yeah.
I think that'd be a much better signing.
I would much rather us sign Lucas Leiva. I don't know if we're going to go into that at all, but I would much rather us do that than sign Joey Barton, because I've seen that Joey Barton's having more talks with West Ham apparently. So I would say that there's a disagreement over something in the contract. I'm assuming he's passed his medical though.
He's banned from using Twitter. That's what it is.
Should we sign him, David Gold? I know you're listening. No.
Big fan of the show.
No. Please do not sign him. I would not be a happy man if we signed Joey Barton, because it's the same thing with the whole Barini thing. We go from signing Dimitri Payet to Joey Barton. It's 2 names that you wouldn't put on the pitch together. However, they have played together before when Barton went on loan to Marseille, that's an interesting thing for everyone to know. So, would I have him at West Ham? No. If he joins West Ham, will I be annoyed? Slightly. Although it will be fun to mess around with in FIFA. I would rather sign Lucas Leiva, because I actually did used to rate him very much when he was... Yeah, he does the dirty work, doesn't he?
Yeah. And we'll move on to the second rumour has it. Rumour has it, £47 million for De Bruyne to Manchester City.
Well, he's done it in the Bundesliga.
Yeah.
But as proven in the past, the Bundesliga is not as competitive as the Premier League.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, I'm not saying that the Bundesliga is a much easier league than the Premier League, because they have got some very good teams. But the pace in the Bundesliga is not as high as it is in the Premier League. I'm not saying that Kevin De Bruyne is going to play badly in the Premier League, because you can't say it until he comes here, if he did. But at the same time, I think he's not going to shine as much. I mean, the thing is with Man City is they're signing all these key players for the name. Do they need him, really? No, I don't think they do. They've got David Silva. Unless, I know David Silva's getting to that age now where they're starting to think that they've got to replace him. But I don't think Kevin De Bruyne's the man to replace him, to be honest.
I feel like
I think that they need someone else.
City, I don't think as much as he has played for Chelsea before, and he hasn't been one of their key players. Jose Mourinho did allow him to go. It would be a very good move for Wolfsburg with the money. I suppose they've signed him for 20 odd million. They're selling him for 47. I feel like City need to focus their efforts on getting a centre back, like I've already said, and maybe to rival Mangala to bring performances out of him, so Mangala can improve as a player. But also maybe a striker, because they've let Jovetic go, and they've also let Edin Dzeko go, which I was disappointed about because I thought Dzeko was a good striker and he scores a lot of goals even if he doesn't play. And I feel like that will it won't haunt City, but they'll lose. Maybe part they think, oh, we've got to bring on a player now. They can't look towards Dzeko, and quite often at the time, if they look towards Dzeko, he would bring in a goal or two, and that's where I think they could, lose a few goals this season.
I definitely think they've lost some attacking prowess this year.
Yeah.
The fact that off the top of my head, I'm probably forgetting someone in the Man City strike force, but the only one I'm thinking of right now is Aguero.
Yeah.
Because Jovetic, there we go. So there's Aguero. Jovetic going back to the Serie A is good for the Serie A. Dzeko going to the Serie A is a big loss to the Premier League because I wanted him to stay. I rate Dzeko very highly.
I rate him very high. He's a quality striker.
Yeah, he is. I would have think that Arsenal should have signed him, but I don't think Man City would have let him go. But I'm sad that he's left. I'm not sad because he's left Man City though, because Man City wasted him, to be honest.
Yeah, bench player.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll move on to the third rumour has it, third out of four. Rumour has it, Van Gaal's been talking, De Gea is going nowhere. It has already been, Van Gaal's hinted that De Gea isn't moving anywhere, and he's not going to be moving, which maybe thinks he's waiting for the transfer window to end before De Gea comes in and maybe puts his gloves on and stand between the sticks in goal.
I don't know what's going through Van Gaal's head at the moment, to be honest. I mean, well, you look at his haircut. He's asked for the Danny Welbeck on the top and the I'm trying to think of a bald player, the Chris Smalling on the sides. But I don't really know what goes on in that man's head. By not playing De Gea at the weekend has made many people think that De Gea is going. But I also don't think that De Gea should go, as I've said many times, because De Gea's got a future at Man U. And you look at all the great keepers at Manchester United in the past: Peter Schmeichel, Van der Sar, Kujak.
What a monster in between the sticks.
You think of those big. I mean, that's two names out of probably the many that there have been in the past for Man U, and Fabian Barthez.
Oh,
I can't.
Oh.
But they're two names out of the many Man U goalkeepers that have been good, and De Gea will be in that list if he stays. And he needs to realise that the Premier League is, I would say, I'm going to say this now, what the Premier League is becoming the strongest league in the world again.
Yeah.
No matter what people say about the whole English talent thing and all that, and English teams can't compete with the likes of Barcelona, Juventus, Real Madrid. They can, but the thing is that Bayern Munich, for example, is an ageing team. They've got Ribéry and Robben, two of their key players, are now rather old, I guess you could say, for Premier League for Bundesliga players, and they need to replace them, of course. So Bayern Munich, I don't think they're going to do as well this year in the Champions League because they're going to get overpowered. Yeah. However, Barcelona have got the strongest attack force I think I've ever seen, ever.
Yeah,
they're going to dominate again this year. Barcelona will probably win the league. They'll probably win the Champions League. They'll win. They can win whatever they want this year, as far as I'm concerned. Real Madrid, Cristiano Ronaldo is starting to get to the age where he's not going to perform as well as Messi anymore. I'm not saying that Cristiano Ronaldo is old and crap. I'm just saying that Messi is going to start to outshine Ronaldo a bit more over the next few seasons.
Yeah.
Ronaldo is a very unique player as such. He could even go into the sort of Zanetti age before he actually retires. But he won't be at Real Madrid as far as I'm concerned. He might actually end up back at Man U for like 20 million at the age of 35. That wouldn't surprise me the way it's going at the moment. But it's getting to the point where Ronaldo's not going to perform as well, and especially if Real Madrid let Benzema go,
Yeah, that's
I think that's gonna be an interesting one. And the fact that I think that will be good for Real Madrid because that gives Bale the chance to play in the middle, which is his desired position.
Yeah.
And then that will also be good for Real Madrid because then there's less of a chance that Man U will sign Bale. Uh, and then there's also Juventus, who, let's just say, they're a fantastic team at doing business.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, signing Vidal for, what, a couple of million, or if not free, I can't really remember what one he was. I think he was the only one they actually paid for.
Yeah.
Then selling him off to Bayern Munich. Pogba, free. That's all that's got to be said about Pogba. They got him for free.
Khedira free coming in.
Sammy
this
Khedira,
season.
yep. I
Yeah,
mean,
huge player.
they replaced Vidal before they even sold him. That's
They're
that's the
on
best
ball.
thing. Juventus are going to be a team that's going to be around for a little while. They've lost Pirlo. You know, he's a big sort of name in that dressing room, and
Yeah.
it will be interesting to see how they react to that this year.
Yeah.
But it's like they take out Pirlo, bring in Marquisio.
Yeah. They've got strength and depth in the midfield, and it's just, I think it'll be too much for teams because they'll have 3 or 4 injuries and they'll still have a world-class midfield, and it's something no other team in the world has.
Yeah, Juventus have got one of the strongest midfields in the world. If you put um, Barcelona's fort attack with Juventus's midfield and probably Bayern's defence,
Yeah.
and then you've got Neuer / De Gea in goal, that's like the best team in the world.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, that's what I've got to say about that sort of thing. I can't remember what we started talking on there.
What we were talking on, Joe, is
Yeah.
De Gea.
De Gea. See,
So we'll move
I went
on.
off on such a big tangent there.
I was thinking like, this is
That's your Champions League info for this year.
going to call this a Champions League podcast now.
Yeah, Champions League podcast, might as well.
Lastly, the last player I want to talk about, the last rumour. Rumour has it, and someone's agent has been a little bit naughty and talking Götze to Manchester United or Arsenal. His agent has been hinting at moves away from Bayern Munich, and Manchester United and Arsenal have been linked, with the agent saying it and also sources reporting it as well, that Man United and Arsenal are both interested in Mario Götze. Would that be a good move for either of the sides?
No for Man U, yes for Arsenal. I think that Götze is a fantastic player, a very good player, and he's being wasted at Bayern Munich a lot like a lot of other brilliant players in the past.
Yeah.
But I don't actually think he should move to the Premier League for either of those teams.
Yeah.
Simply due to the fact of I think that the two teams that he's being rumoured with have got too much strength in the midfield. I would say that if he was going to move to, actually, I wouldn't. If he was going to move to a top Premier League side, he's not got much choice if he's going to sort of fit in, because I would say that Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City, Chelsea, Man U, they've all strengthened their midfield this year.
Yeah.
And Arsenal already had too strong of a midfield as it was, and the fact of they've got too many key players playing out of position week in,
I've got
week
one
out.
team,
Did I?
Spurs.
I said top teams. But I don't think Götze should move to Bayern Munich. I think he should go back to Dortmund.
Oh,
reunite
yeah.
Royce and Götze. That'd be
well,
beautiful.
mate, you know what? I'm not. I'm
Beautiful
going
day
to call it right
for
now.
me.
He's moving to Juventus. Everyone's going to move to Juventus. If you're good, you can you play midfield? Yes. Are you good in midfield? Yes. What rating are you? Above 84 in FIFA? Yes. You sign. That's it.
I would love to see Götze move to the Premier League, but I can't see a team where he will fit in. Really, he could probably play for Chelsea, but
Yeah.
the
I
thing is,
suppose.
Chelsea wanted to build their team around Oscar, and last year I don't think Oscar played enough
Yeah.
for Chelsea. But he could probably fit in at Chelsea, which would actually make the Chelsea team incredibly scary.
Yeah.
If he played on the right-hand side, you got Hazard on the left-hand side and Oscar in the centre.
Yeah.
Matic doing the dirty work and everything. But I don't think that Götze's... I don't think that he should leave this season. I think he should see what's going to happen this year with the likes of Robin and Ribery, and then see what he can do from there.
Yeah, I think we'll end on that. I think we've been talking for
an hour and 16 minutes and 28 seconds.
Yeah, quite a long time. We started off so well, and then we went on so many tangents, and it just didn't end well. But hopefully you've all enjoyed this. It will hopefully be something we do more often. Like I say, we won't be talking for this long. Next week it'll be cut down a lot because a lot of the big new players we only need to talk about, or the new teams we only need to talk about, more focused on the results, player performances, who did well, who didn't do well, and also a little bit of side notes on a few players, who's joined, who hasn't, and also end off with rumour has it. So hopefully keeping it below the hour mark from now on. But I'd like to thank you all for watching. I hope I hope you've all enjoyed this. It's something different. It's something I wanted to do for a long time, a little podcast thing, and I thought, why not try and bring Joe along, because he's the only person I know personally. There are other people on YouTube that I can bring in as well that'll be interested in joining this. Hopefully, maybe we can bring in different people to have different opinions, because of course, if we're going to do say something now, every answer is going to be Sheffield Wednesday and West Ham being the best teams in the world. So it's very, very biased at the moment.
You do need different opinions, but I'm happy to join you every week, Kurt.
I'll send the contract to you, so you have no choice from now on.
Yeah, I'll sign it later.
But I'd like to thank you guys for watching anyway. If you like this video, then leave a like. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and subscribe if you want to get up to date with everything going on with my series. Also, if you're watching this on Joe's channel, then hit subscribe on his button. If you watch this on my channel, go subscribe to him. We work in co. A lot of channels I know that do Fantasy Premier League work in co. There's no rivalry. Jesus Christ, Roy Hodgson, sorry. But I want this whole thing to be a family. If we can get more people in, then more the merrier. But anyway, thank you guys for watching, and peace.
Is this the part where I meant to say bye?
No, I just ended off.
I haven't ended yet.
Oh, do you want to end off then?
Well, I don't know. Do I get the choice? Thank you. Thank you all for watching. Make sure you go and check out Kurt's channel. Hit that dislike button. Hit that like button on his video. Subscribe to him, and peace.
Go fuck yourself.
Suck a dick. Okay, well, I'm ready when you are.
Okay, I'm ready when you are.
I'm gonna press start recording, then you count down and I'll edit that out.
Okay.
You're gonna start.
Oh, I didn't know if you were gonna let me know. Okay.
Oh yeah, I've started now.
3, 2, 1. What is going on, people of YouTube? My name is Kurtyoy, and today you can only see my face again, and unfortunately, and if you've clicked on this and you've seen the fact that it is quite a long video, don't click away. It'll hopefully be interesting, I hope. But today I've got, as yet, an unnamed podcast, which I'm probably just going to stick some bog standard name on in the title, and it's all about football. And I'm joined with Joe. Do you want to say hello?
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Can we start this again? I've got a coat hanger in my hand. I just realised.
What are you doing with a coat hanger in your hand?
I don't know. My lighting's really bad as well.